How to whip egg whites by hand. First, you'll need a whisk. Just match the size of whisk to whatever the size of bowl you have. So if you have a small bowl, use a small whisk. If you have a big bowl, use a big whisk. A big whisk will always do a better job than a small one, because what you're trying to do is incorporate air into the mix. So a larger bowl and a larger whisk means larger circles and larger swirls and more air getting in there. Of course, if you only have one white to work with, then the small one's the natural choice. You'll also need a nice big bowl to go with your whisk. And of course, a bowl full of freshly separated egg whites. It's absolutely crucial that the egg whites are completely pure. The reason why is if there's any yolk in them, they won't foam up properly because of the proteins in the yolk. Another thing that's important, never use a plastic bowl, because plastic has a chemical compound in it which mimics the same chemical signature as the egg yolk, so will also cause the whites not to foam as well as they should. Now, if you want something rugged, a metal bowl works great, but it's really noisy, so if you're trying to keep things quiet, go for a ceramic bowl instead. The whole operation's pretty easy. It's pretty much only 2 steps. First one, put the whites in the bowl, then grab your whisk and start whisking. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to whip egg whites by hand is they end up using a stirring motion. This is completely ineffective. It doesn't incorporate enough air, and you'll end up here for hours doing it if you just want to stir. The idea is to stir, but at the same time also use a lifting motion so that you're flicking the white through the tines of the whisk to incorporate the air. This works much quicker and does a better job. You can see that air is already being incorporated in from the lifting and stirring motion. So just continue, and there's no secret to this next part. It's just all hard work. Go as fast as you can, and hopefully you'll get great results. A good test of whether or not they're done is just to take the bowl, and only do this if you think they're really done, and turn it all the way upside down. You'll notice nothing comes out. A lot of recipes will talk about either stiff or soft peaks. This is a stiff peak. Basically what happens is when you dip the whisk in and pull out a sample, it doesn't move, it just stays in place. If it wants to move, drip, or slightly bend, that's soft peaks. In most cases, you're going to want to go for hard peaks anyways. Anyway, this stuff is about done. It only took me about 2 minutes. Depending on how many eggs, it might take 1.5, and if you use a different type of whisk or technique is good or bad, it could be a little bit quicker or a little bit slower. But don't complain if your arm hurts, it's just part of it, and hey, you'd rather spend 2 minutes doing it with a whisk than $300 on a new mixer, right? Right. That's it. Until next time, happy baking and enjoy your egg whites.